Hey guys, so in this video we're going to look at some high ground retakes from well-known pro players like Mongraal, Dubs, and Clix. Ever since wagers have become popular on Twitch, a ton of new retakes have come to light that are useful in both creative and actual games. I got the idea for this video from a Reddit post by Trevor Clips. His version shows a bunch of extra retakes that I thought were either too flashy or too simple to include, so I decided to take the best retakes from there and showcase them here. The format of this video will be similar to my 5 useful retakes video. I'll show what the retake is, how to do it, why it works, and then I'll show it being used by the pro I learned it from. With that being said, let's start with one of my favorite new retakes from the 5-time World Cup qualifier himself, FaZe Dubs. You start off by scissor ramping up, then make sure your bottom ramp is extended out farther than your top one so you can floor and cone it. After that, edit the 2 right tiles of both the floor and the cone. Using the cone you just edited, place a ramp on top of it, then a floor, and another ramp for you to jump on. This is a move that I believe FaZe Sway came up with. He does it like 3 or 4 times in a row though. We're only going to do it once. It's useful because you're protected by the ramp you place above you, and you never lose momentum while going up and out the other direction. Back to the retake at hand though. After you do the sway move, edit through the floor and then cone and floor yourself again. This time you want to edit the 2 left tiles of the floor, but only the back left tile of the cone. Then reset the edited cone and edit the tile next to it. You'll finish the retake by doing a 90 with the edited cone and ramping up the other direction. When you do it at full speed, you're protected the entire time and constantly changing directions to throw off your opponent. You're never exposed to take any damage even when doing the 90 up for height, since you're essentially doing a protected 90 with the cone. I love any type of move using re-edits, especially cones, for build battles. Re-edits are insanely effective at helping you get height. They're efficient in terms of using mats because you're not placing any additional builds. And just overall, they're pretty underused by most people. Dubs is always using this retake in wagers and using that insane cone re-edit to get height. It's basically impossible to track him during build fights because he's never building in a straight line and he's constantly editing back through his own builds. The moment you lose sight of him though is when he goes for high ground and kills you. If you're looking for a relatively simple and practical retake, go and practice this. It's fast, it's protected, and it works, which is basically everything you could want in a retake. Second retake is from EpikWhale, who is another World Cup double qualifier. Again, start by scissor ramping up, but as you turn around at the top, where your bottom ramp is extended out farther than your top ramp, build another ramp going the other way, cone the ramp, edit that cone, and in one jump, you're going to cone the cone you just edited, then place a wall in front of you and a ramp that you'll land on. You can then place another cone next to it if that's where your opponent is and ramp up and out the other way for high ground. The hardest part of this retake is getting off that cone and then catching yourself on your ramp all in one jump. If you don't place a wall in front of you, it will not let you place a ramp, so that wall is a key part of this retake. What's really nice about this move is that you're almost guaranteed to cone your opponent while doing it. Using the ramp and then coning off the edited cone, you're blocking off whoever is on height, even if they're 3 levels above you. Plus, you can add extra cones at the end and add whatever retake you want in it to finish the move. This retake is perfect for when your opponent is much higher than you. Instead of wasting 500 mats doing 30 thwifo cones, you can cone them and juke them out with this sick move. Parallel Connor is the person who came up with this move, but I saw it from EpikWhale while he was doing wagers. EpikWhale did it a bit different in this clip, which is why the retake is so cool. You can see that he re-edits the edited cone into a ramp, so then he can edit through the cone he placed on top of it. There's just so many different variations and possibilities you can come up with this retake, so when you go and try it out, don't be afraid to put your own spin on it. The third retake is actually 3 in 1 by the only other 5-time World Cup qualifier from NA, MSF Clix. The first version of this is the basic one, and then we're going to add on to it. You can begin with the normal scissor ramp up, then turn around and thwifo cone. Using the thwifo cone, place another cone in front of it, and then floor that off and connect to it with a ramp. Edit through the cone and floor, and since this is a base version, we're just going to finish it off with a simple 180. The point of this is just so we can master that first extended thwifo cone move. What helped me with it was to start turbo building the thwifo cone from low down on your ramp. This way you have room to get a floor and a ramp in and edit your way out. On its own, it's a decent move because you're going to be protected the entire time, but we want to spice it up a little bit. Next variation is after the extended Thwifo cone, continue scissor ramping and then throw in a cone and floor that you can edit and then do 90s up for height with. This is the version that you pretty much always see Clix do in wagers. There's one more version which I'm going to show which I think is better, but Clix loves to get height by repeatedly coning and flooring himself and then going straight up for height with 90s. The final and hardest variation of this retake is to do Clix's extended Thwifo cone and then floor and cone yourself like in the last trick, but instead of editing through and ramping up, you're going to edit the two right tiles of the floor and the cone, then reset the floor edit and place a ramp and cone off of that. You should be doing this in one jump, so it should look smooth like this where you jump up, reset the floor, and then place the ramp. You can finish it with whatever you want. Clix usually does 90s, so that's what I did. I think this is the sickest variation of that retake because you add in the last cone edit, which will throw off the person trying to track you on high ground. Whenever you see someone Thwifo coning or just coning and flooring themselves, you'd expect them to keep ramping straight out of it. With that insane floor reset edit you do at the end, you're completely juking whoever you're fighting, which will then be your cue to build up for height. A majority of the time, Clix uses the first two variations of this move because they're a lot easier and safer to do. Clix is insanely fast with his edits and his 90s, which is part of the reason why he gets height so easily a lot of the time. Unless you're Clix though, try out the last variation because that change of direction will win you the fight more often than just going in a straight line and relying on your building and editing speed. Fourth retake is from the GOAT, Ghost Bizzle. This retake is pretty much all about changing directions. So after you scissor ramp up, you want to turbo build walls around you and a floor above and below you, almost like you're boxing up. Then you want to turn around and ramp up the opposite direction you had originally turned to build the walls to. You're basically starting off by going in a straight line, then doing a protected direction change 90 degrees. This should all be in one smooth movement while jumping, so you never lose momentum and you can protect yourself as you're juking out the guy on height. After that, you're going to change directions again, this time by placing a floor below you, then out to the side and a ramp on top of that. This should also all be in one move where you're placing all the builds mid-jump out to the side. Following that side jump, you'll do a 180, which is what Bizzle always does. I call these one jump 180s since you're only jumping once to build the walls and the ramps. Usually you would build twice, so once to turn around and build the walls, and then once to jump onto the ramp. With one jump 180s, it's a lot faster but less protected because you're running higher up on your own ramp in order to swing around and do a 180 with a single jump. After the 180, you'll place a cone at the top of your ramp that you extended out, run up and do a cone jump, but land on a ramp on top of the floor you place. This really is not as hard as it looks. You just have to look straight down and turbo build a floor and ramp, but it's a lot faster than a normal cone jump. The only thing is, it's way less protected, so right after the cone jump, you're going to have to do another one jump 180 to finish the retake. This move is something I've been using a lot recently in actual matches because of how little mats it uses and how insanely effective it is at throwing off your opponents. You change directions like 5 times during the whole thing, so it's impossible to track you, and those times where you're not completely protected are good opportunities to get a shot off on whoever you're building up against. Bizzle is always using these moves together in his wagers, and it's why he almost never loses them. If you're looking for a pretty simple yet useful retake, definitely go try this out and add it to your arsenal. The last retake we'll look at is very similar to the one by Clix and Dubs, but it's from Mongraal. Mongraal's retake starts off with scissor ramping up like every other retake in the world, turn around and then do a Thwifo cone. You can continue scissor ramping up using the ramp connected to the Thwifo cone. After that, turn around again, but this time do an extended Thwifo cone. Edit through the bottom tiles of the floor so you can again scissor ramp back up. You'll then do another extended Thwifo cone, but this time you'll edit the 2 right tiles of the floor and cone. From this you can go into FaZe Sway's move from Dubs retake where you ramp off the edited cone, then floor it, and jump onto the last ramp. You can finish the retake by editing through the floor and then either doing 90s or 180. Mongraal usually does like 5 90s, but that's only in wagers. I like this retake because it combines Clix's quick builds and edits with Dubs' change in direction. You're also protected the entire time and can add whatever retake we already covered to it to make it even better. This is probably the easiest and most straightforward retake, even more so than Bizzle's, as long as you can get the edits down. A lot of the time, Mongrel will do this move and extended Thwifo cones literally 20 times before he actually 90s up. I recommend learning the base version that I showed just because it's far more useful and practical for actual matches. So those are 5 high ground retakes that top tier pro players are using. If you learned something new or enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jarian. We're almost at 300k subscribers, which is when I'll start the next big giveaway. So again, make sure you're subscribed because I upload helpful content every other day. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.